Hi, this is Steven from Just Got Played, and today I'm going to unbox for you Raw from 25th Century Games. So this is the Pharaoh Edition, which is the Deluxe Edition. I backed this on their crowdfunding campaign on GameFound. So you can see this is by Reiner Knizia. Artwork is Ian O'Toole. 2 to 5 players, 30 to 60 minutes, ages 12 and up. The box is about the size of a piece of paper. It's like 8.5 by 10.5, but if you look at it, it is really deep, and that's because there's a bunch of wooden components in here, so you can see, wooden components. Raw. All right, so this is not a new game. I think it was originally published in 1999, but it's been in and out of print many times. So this is the latest iteration of it, and I know people have been clamoring for it because I was one of those people. All right, so here is, wow, there's a really big bag, I guess to keep the tiles in, right? And it's got, some nice stitching and then a sort of a flat bottom. Right, it's cool, thematic and colorful. I like it, and it feels like it's quality, although, never know till you've played with it some. All right, so these are the Sun discs. Well, the rulebook's all the way at the bottom, which I think is going to tell me what all these things are called, so I'm going to go from memory. These are Sun discs, right? And these, in the back, they all have to be the same because, when they're face down, you don't necessarily know what they are, but they go up in value. They go all the way down to 1, and then I think the top one's 20 or something. I don't remember exactly. I can see the 1, actually. Right here, the 1 is always a fun one to try to play. So these are the things that you actually use to bid with. And it's cool because, once you win a bid, then the disc that you used to win the bid becomes part of the option for the next one. And whichever one you won, then those become the ones that you use for the next round of bidding or for some points at the end of the game. All right, so these are the scoring tablets. They tell you what you collect points. It's played in 3 epics. And so at the end of each epic, you've got to collect your points. You keep them. All right, so there's a 2 on that side and it's blank on that side, so you can put it face down and people don't know what you have. So a whole lot of 2s in there. I didn't mention that this box is heavy, but it is heavy because, look at all these metal and wooden components. It's very full too, right? They didn't make that box thick for no reason. All right, here's the 10. All right, and the back is identical again. Originally, they were going to try to do some really colorful stuff with these tokens. They didn't, but I don't mind. These turned out really nice. So far, so good. Pretty happy with the production. All right, so there's the 5. Again, on the back. And we're going to have some 1s here, right? Yeah. Some 1s. There you go. 1. I notice there's no insert in here, which is fine because usually I just throw inserts away. Also, considering these components, I don't think I need an insert to sort of keep things together. All right, here's another bag. I guess that's to keep the scoring tokens in, or tablets or whatever they're called. You don't really need that, but it is a nice touch. All right, so let's take a look at some of these tiles, the things that, you're bidding on. All right, let me just dump some of these out, and we'll take a look at some of the tiles. All right, so if you look at the backs, they all need to basically look the same. These are actually lighter than I thought they would be. They're nice quality anyway, but these look like they're monuments, right? That's the same monument and a different monument. I think I wouldn't be surprised if that symbol means monument. So there's a set collection thing going on with those. Monuments only score at the end of the 3rd epic, so you don't score them every turn like some of the other stuff. I think this is a Pharaoh tile. So Pharaoh is a sort of majority thing. You want to collect the most pharaohs. Whoever has the most gets points. And if you have the least, you lose some. They're all just tiles. I want to dig in here and get the rulebook out just so I know that I'm naming these things properly. All right, so here we go. All right, so here's the names of all the different things, right? So the civilization tiles are the gray ones. Monument tiles, purple, we saw those. All right, so I'm going to set that aside as references. We look at some more of these. All right, so that is one of these civilization tiles. Again, there's a penalty if you don't have any civilization tiles, but then you can get points for having different types of civilization tiles. Let me see if I can find any of the like Nile or disaster tiles. Those are sort of interesting. This, I believe, this is a god tile. So god tiles, when there are tiles out on auction, and if you have a god tile on your turn, you can swap out god tiles for any of the tiles that are in auction. So you're sort of like reserving for future taking of stuff instead of having to get on the auction to get it. So this is a gold tile. So gold is just worth points at the end of each round. I haven't seen any raw tiles yet either, of course, because, you know, it is the name of the game, raw. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. Here's one over here. I can see it right here in this bag. So the raw tiles are interesting. So a raw tile triggers an auction. Nobody has to bid, so it can just go around. But then also the raw tiles basically fill up the each epic has so many raw tiles that can come out before the epic ends. And if you didn't use some of your tiles and bid for things before the end, well, just too bad. All right, here's some more civilization tiles, some more gold tiles. All right, here's the Nile and flood tiles, I suppose. So this is just a regular Nile tile. So Nile tiles are interesting in that you carry them. I'm pretty sure you carry them from round to round, epic to epic. But they're actually not worth anything unless you also at least have one flood tile. Let me see if I can find a flood. These are all Nile tiles. Wow, there's a lot of tiles. All right, I don't see one right there. Let me try another bag. I definitely see some more tiles in here. Okay, yeah, these are floods, right? So here's a Nile tile and here's a flood tile. So you have to have a flood tile each epic to score if you want to. Otherwise, those just don't get you any points at all. All right, let's look at this bag. This looks like this has all of these sort of negative tiles I was trying to think of, right? Because these red borders generally are the negative things. So what this says is when you take this tile, you have to discard 2 other monument tiles. Of course, if you don't have any monument tiles, that's not so bad to you. And so that's an earthquake, right? Knocks down your monuments. This is a drought, which says you have to discard flood and Nile tiles, 2 of them. And I think you have to discard flood tiles first. So, and this is war, which kills some of your civilization tiles. And there's one more. It's called funeral, which kills the Pharaoh tiles. But anyway, so let's see what else we got here. So much stuff to fit in there. All right, everybody has a player board. Let's see if I can make some space here in this giant sea of things. All right, there's player board, right? And so this is just where you put your stuff when you get them, right? So you put your monument tiles over here, and your Pharaoh tiles go, where is it here? Yeah, right. So you see the Pharaoh, and it tells you how they score. And the same thing with the, I guess the flood tiles go here because they go away every round, and the Nile tiles go here, I think. The things on the left you keep for the entire game. The things on the right you discard with the epic. There is a second side to this, which I'm not entirely sure what the other side is for. But anyway, maybe it's a different number of players. All right, because there's 4 sun discs here and 3. So here's where you keep your sun discs. Everybody gets to see public information, what all your tiles are, and what numbers you have to bid with. All right, and then there's this central board as well, which is double-sided. All right, so there's going to be, like I said, one of these Sun discs on offer, either from the start of the game, whatever starts there, maybe the one starts there, I don't know, and then subsequently, whatever one, the previous one, goes here. And one side is designed for you to use this boat. This is the auction board, so you put out the pieces for auction. And then there's also this boat that, right, so say you're playing with 4 players, I think it starts here, and then as a raw tile comes out, you just move it along, and when the game is over, when you get to the end, and then on the other side, instead of using the boat, I think you just put the raw tiles here as they come out, which is how older versions of the game typically worked. They didn't have this nice, chunky, raw boat, which is cool, but not as cool as the raw statue, which is the last piece, I think. Oh, no, there's one other thing in here that I haven't... that's the Epoch Counter. Okay. The raw statue. This is really big and chunky. But on your turn, you can start an auction. You can look at what's available and take the raw statue and declare or invoke raw. So that's going to start an auction for whatever is on offer, and it goes all the way around. Everybody just has to bid a higher number or pass. You get one shot at it, and then you, as the person who invoked raw, get to bid last. If nobody else bid, though, you have to bid. So that's important when you're invoking raw. If something else starts an auction, like a raw tile coming out, you don't have to bid. But anyway, you do if you invoke raw with this giant, ridiculous statue that I like. All right, and so the last thing was this Epoch Counter, which I was not expecting, but I guess it is nice. I guess you start on one side, and then you flip it over, and then, after you've gone through the second epic, then, you're on the third epic and you're done. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a 2-sided thing for a 3 counter, but yeah, there you go. All right, so these rules were all the way at the bottom. So let's take a look at those. Oh, it's got an interesting finish on it. Okay. Makes me think of papyrus. Isn't that neat? All right, so there's the overview and all these components that I was referencing. So it talks about how to set up, playing the game. Those are the, auctions that the actions that you can do. You can invoke raw to start an auction. You can spend a god tile, or you can just draw a tile to add it to the track, unless the track is full. All right, talks about how the auctions work and the bidding. And then, of course, what's important is the scoring. So you're going to score at the end of the first epic, the end of the second epic, and the end of the third epic. The scoring is different because, like, you do monuments and you score points for the sun discs that you accrued. So slightly different there. Yeah, there you go. Raw tiles, disaster tiles. And there's a cool quick reference here on the back. So there you go. There is the massive Pharaoh edition of Ra. Looking forward to getting this to the table soon. I mean, nothing has changed about the game. So it is still the Ra that I know and love, but I want to play with all these cool components. Other than just throwing them around on my table, I actually want to physically play the game with them. So, and maybe some of the other people on the channel who also ordered this maybe we'll do a quick review to tell you what we think about Ra, because it is pretty popular around here. For anybody who is curious how I reboxed this, I stuck all the sun discs here, got the Ra statue, I've got the player boards, and then the auction board. And I'm going to keep these scoring tiles or tablets just in their own separate bags instead of combining them in this bag, because just when I put them out on the table, it's nice to have them separated. So I'm just going to tuck all that in here. I have got all the tiles in this bag, and I sort of lay it flat like that. Everything fits. I've got the Sunboat marker and the Epoch Counter. I keep it in this bag just to keep them from rattling around too much loosely in there. Put the rules on top. The lid goes on. And it sits flush with no box lift. So there you go, if you're curious how I reboxed it. All right, well, thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, maybe consider sharing it or subscribing to our channel. If you have any questions about Raw or anything else, about board games in general or whatever, take a look in the description of the video. There's a link to our Discord channel. You can come over there and chat with us. We're always happy to talk about stuff. But until the next time, thanks for joining me.